Okay, in this video we open up Excel and look at some basic descriptive stat techniques, primarily drawing graphs, drawing pictures. And we're going to do a time series, a scatter plot, and pivot tables. A time series is just a line chart where we're plotting something over time. If we have two values that are interval data, real numbers, we can plot a scatter plot. And pivot tables is a very powerful, not used very often, part of Excel. And I just want to show you how you can quickly turn data into information using a pivot table. We'll save frequency tables and histograms for another video. So in Excel, the business stats for OEM data, and go to the toys worksheet. We have data over time, although my time axis is actually just, these are qualitative, these aren't numbers. I can't say take this plus this. Excel doesn't know what to do because that's not a number. It's Q2-2005 and Excel doesn't recognize that as a number. So it's just qualitative. But we could plot this. So look what I'm going to do. I'm going to left click, drag down, grab the data, go under the insert worksheet, go over, and let's go to the line chart. You could use any of these other ones, but I'm going to use the line chart. The two that I would recommend is this one or this one if you want to see the actual data points. That one if you just want to see the lines. Don't use any of these. Don't use this bottom one. Don't use 3D unless you really have a need for 3D lines. Keep it simple, straightforward. So I'm going to use this one. So what we're plotting is revenue over time. And again, the purpose of a graph is to give you some information that you didn't have. So it collapsed this data into some information by drawing you a picture. And immediately I can see something that if I was just looking at this, I would have a hard time seeing this spike. I would not be able to capture that number is really big relative to these. It's just hard looking at a bunch of numbers. And this is a small data set. But I can see that every fourth quarter I've got this spike. So I'm selling something and either I've got high demand in the fourth quarter or I'm trying to get rid of all of my inventory before the end of the year and I'm offering a sale. There's something that's happening where I'm spiking my revenue or there's a spike in my revenue the fourth quarter. The other thing I have is I have a trend. Even if I didn't have this collapse or this spike, this seasonal effect in the fourth quarter, I am going up in general just a little bit every year. So I've actually got two different underlying patterns. I've got a trend as well as a fourth quarter spike. And again, that's the purpose of a graph. Let's look at another one. Let's look at the sales. And what this is plotting some employees' productivity, their sales performance as a function of how many years they've worked. So what I'm going to do is plot sales performance measured in thousands of dollars against how many years they've worked for a particular company or as a salesperson. And this is not data that's ordered, but I can build a scatter plot of this. Now, you should, just based on if you're following this video, have some theory already in your head on what that's going to look like. That's okay if you that's what inferential stats is that you have a theory and then you go out and you try to prove or disprove it. So your theory might be, well, the older you get, the better a salesperson you are. So your sales performance is going to be higher the more years you have. And someone else might have a theory, well, the older you get, you don't have as much energy, so your performance goes down. So let's plot this using a scatter plot. So I'm going to left click, drag, grab the data, go under insert, and instead of doing the line chart, I'm going to use the scatter. And I'm not a big fan of linking the lines unless the data is ordered. The data is not ordered. This particular row is not related to this row at all. Since my data is not ordered, don't use this one. You can just get a mess. But this one, you just get the data point. And from that, you can see that you've got some type of underlying cause. And it looks like what happens is that you have both of these effects. You've got that early in the season you don't sell as much, but late in the season you don't sell as much because you may be thinking about other things. you don't have a lot of experience early, so you reach kind of a sweet spot between years 10 and 20 where you're a pretty good salesperson. And that's what a scatter plot does in Excel, is that it lets you build a relationship between two data sets where the data sets are numbers, real numbers. I'll save pivot tables for a separate video and then do a separate video for histograms. Thanks.